I already see that this is just going to be a woman shrieking at the top of her lungs about something that she's emotionally attached to. Here we go. Here we go. If I was in the room right now, I'd just be like, if I could just, I'd just start twitching. Just,
And good evening, everyone. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you live the debate between Andrew Wilson and Undead Chronic. Our topic this evening is Stepdads Are Cuckolds. I didn't make it up. I just post it. I'm here pulling scraps from the bottom of the barrel, so here we are live. For clarification purposes, I reached out to both of these gentlemen. I saw that there was some spattle going between the two of them. So I decided to see if they wanted to do this, and I decided to host it. So here we are. I do have two big rules of engagement for this evening, and I want to make sure I clarify them. I'm well aware we have two very big personalities, two very big voices on one screen. One rule I have is you can yell and cuss at each other all you want. The only thing I ask is you don't do it over each other. If I have to intervene, it's going to be because the audience cannot hear anything that either of you are saying. That will be the one and only time I will intervene in terms of that concept. The other rule I have is that I recognize this is a personal lifestyle attack. No big deal. I understand it. However, one thing that I won't allow on screen is attacking children. Children are to be left completely out of this or any form of doxing of any sort. It's a big no-no, not only on YouTube, but in my personal principles as well. If we attack children, I just remove from the screen, take my ball and go home, and we call it a day. That's going to be how that is. We are going to start with 4-minute openings and end on 4-minute closings. Undead Chronic will have the first opening statement since he is the challenger, and then Andrew will close us first. This debate will go no later than 6:40 as far as the arguments are concerned. Then we will close it down and end on closing statements.
there we go.
And then I will go into
Andrew
super
Bad,
chats, read and
Spurs,
respond.
Spurs.
Undead Chronic and Andrew Wilson are both
Andrew
willing to
Bad,
stay
Spurs,
and
Spurs,
answer
Spurs.
to those.
Andrew
I will
Bad,
not be
Spurs,
hosting any
Spurs.
form of open panel after this event.
I don't disagree with anything Andrew says. Spurs,
After party reaction.
his family, Spurs.
Please feel free to check in with our mods. They're happy to drop your links after at the end of the show, and we're happy to redirect in that aspect. Gentlemen, do you agree with everything being said this evening? Andrew, to you.
Yeah, I agree.
Undead Chronic, to you.
If the kids are 18, can I bring them up or no?
No kids at all. No kids at all. And what I'm saying,
Family members.
no family members. I will say Rachel is kind of since she is in the public light. I think that would be.
Yeah, she's a public figure. It's fine to attack public figures.
Or as any additional family members. Now, if you're smart enough, you can speak in abstract and get through this argument and make points outside of that. But however, bringing up people personally, actual names or any specific.
Don't worry about that.
That would be great. I think you can do this in abstract or in a generalization and get through the argument respectfully and actually make your points. I think you can do it.
Just jump on me early if I'm crossing that line, okay?
Just stay out of the personal realm. That's all I ask. Do you agree to all of that?
I sure.
Okay. Any final questions, gentlemen?
No?
All right. Undead Chronic, I leave it to you to open.
Cool. There is a mountain. It's called Cuck Mountain. He who sits at the top of Cuck Mountain is Mr. Jack Murphy. Actual cuckolds. People who watch their wives engage in sexual activities with other people. Why is cucking bad? Why do men not like to be cucked? Because you're giving up access to your sexual resources to other men, right? There are levels of cucking. Everybody here listening is a cuck. If you pay taxes to the federal government, right? Unfortunately, we all get cucked that way because your money gets sent to single mothers and their bastard kids through welfare, through whatever it is. I would argue that a man who marries a single mother is higher on Cuck Mountain than someone who says, I want to have my own children and spend all my resources on my own children. That's pretty much it.
Okay. I put the floor to Andrew.
Okay. That really, that's it? So that's all you wanted to do there? Okay.
Am I supposed to respond or?
No, I was just making sure.
No, maybe, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
So, as expected, I think that this is just going to be a kind of routine hater debate. I actually rather enjoy these more than any other type because my haters really don't know very much about me at all and basically just make assumptions or reuse old attacks, which have already been addressed 100 times. The fact they get so much wrong obviously amuses me, but the attacks usually center around my wife or kids. It doesn't really have anything to do with what I say, but rather who I chose to marry and have kids with.
Mm-hmm.
The topic of this debate is going to be centered around, of course, is being a stepfather cuckoldry. Now, a person can create any definition of the word cuckoldry they like. I think that we just saw Undead Chronic do that, for instance. But it does need to point to a category, and that category should contain information which is coherent. The etymology of the word cuckold comes from Middle English cuckweld, from Old French cuckwalt, from the cuckoo bird. The equivalent words in French and other languages apply to both the bird and the adulterer. Cuckold has never been applied to the bird in the English language, for instance, and that's where some of the nebulousness of the term comes from. Shakespeare and other playwriters popularized the term because all rights in the name were paralineal, from father to son, so peasants, nobles, monarchs alike had a very real fear of being cuckolded, which meant their wife would cheat, and they'd end up raising and siring a child not their own unknowingly. Thus, if ever later revealed, it could topple entire noble lines, and in the past, that actually has happened. The word has evolved to include men who want to watch other men have sex with their significant other. He mentioned Jack Murphy. I think that's a good example. Wife, girlfriend, whatever. But this has only been a recent inclusion as a pornographic category, and it describes essentially the same behavior, just in the style of fetish, where now the man is fetishizing not knowing if the child is his or not. This is by far the most common use of the word in modernity, what most people mean when they say it. The theme crossover with the etymology makes perfect sense because in both cases, the meaning is defaulting to not knowing if your offspring is actually yours. A stepfather or mother, on the other hand, doesn't fit that criteria, as paternity isn't what is in question. Joseph, the husband of Mary, for instance, was stepfather to Jesus Christ. If we were to use Undead Chronic's definition here, or use any of the word cuckold as the way he says it, we would have to blaspheme and say God cuckolded Joseph, which makes zero sense, as in that sense, then, every man on planet Earth would be a cuckold by this logic, as the thing which makes us is created by the divine God, and it's called the soul. Also, there are further logical issues if we extrapolate this. To adopt also would be cuckoldry, as adoption and step-parenting is essentially the same concept. In fact, in the days of old, to be married to a woman with children was to adopt those children. The basic idea is that offspring which aren't yours, you are willing to provide resources for and love them. Rendering aid to any child, in fact, would be cuckoldry, as a sharing of your resources with a child would be exactly what a cuck or cuckold is doing by being a step-parent. But there's actually more. If a woman has children who are adults and no longer live with her, is the stepfather still a cuckold? He isn't sharing any resources at all, for instance. What about if a woman pays all the bills and takes care of all the responsibilities and not the man? Would he still be a cuckold? If the issue is that his meaning of the word is that a cuckold is a man who sleeps with a woman who has children from another man, that also presents logical issues. For instance, what if she's a widow? Is he still a cuckold? What if the woman was pregnant with multiple babies but aborted them all? Is he still a cuckold? If the answer to any of these is yes, the logical extension is that just sleeping with a woman who has slept with any other man but you makes you a cuckold, which would likely include most of my audience and his. Also, what if she gave another dude a blowjob before you were with her? Is that still cuckoldry? I'm interested in a good faith debate on this, though I don't think I'll get one. I'm still going to try to, though. Ultimately, it was pretty clear to me that Undead doesn't really know very much about me or my content and rather defers to what other people say, which I think he should know better than to do. I never had any actual issues with the guy, but he seems to have some with me. My guess is that this will basically just be kind of a personal insult character attack, and we won't really get into the topic very much. With that, my opening is done.
All right, the floor is open, gentlemen.
So if a man watches another man impregnate his wife and willingly raises the kid, he knows the kid isn't his. Is he not a cuckold?
Yeah, he would be if he's getting enjoyment or entertainment from watching another man impregnate his wife, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So adoption. That's a very interesting point.
Well, hang on. Can we stay on the first point real
Yeah,
quick?
sure. When you're saying,
So to start with that, you wouldn't disagree with me that a man who would get enjoyment, and not just their wife, girlfriend, whatever, from watching another man have sex with their significant other, whoever that was, would be a cuckold, right?
yeah, that's probably the peak. That's the,
Well, I think
like
that that's
definition of cuckold.
yeah. Would you agree with me that if you were to ask, maybe walk down the street and ask 1,000 people what cuckold meant, that that would be the meaning most of them thought it meant?
Probably yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. We can go to topic two.
Yeah. So for adoption,
Hmm.
uh, you're giving resources to another man's child.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere on Cuck Mountain. I don't see it as bad as marrying a single mother, willingly giving your.
Now, now I do have an audio clip here of you saying that you would be willing to adopt.
Yeah, well, that kind of changes. That's in flux.
But if you would be willing to adopt, are you then admitting that you would be willing to be a cuckold?
Well, I have to pay taxes, so I'm forced to be a cuckold on that.
Yeah, but even if we're going to use a tier, so let me kind of reject a couple categories.
Mm.
I would say that forced coercion wouldn't make you a cuckold. So, for instance, if like men broke into your house on Dead Chronic and they were like holding your wife hostage and they held you right at gunpoint, and then they did things to your wife in front of you. I don't think that that would make you a cuckold because that was coercion and force. I think that there has to be like some type of participation in the watching and viewing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't think that taxes, for instance, if you're making the statement that that's done under coercion, which I'm sure you would, I don't think that would make a person a cuckold, right?
But if a man gets cucked and doesn't know about it, he didn't consent to it, and he's raising another man's kids, he's still cucked.
Yeah, well, I think that that's the etymology of the word. Is I would agree with you. So if your wife stepped out, got pregnant, and then you unknowingly raised that kid, I would agree that that's cuckoldry. Yes.
Mm.
So I would agree that that's the baseline etymology, and that watching another man have sex with your girl on purpose would also fit that etymology.
So I don't think consent really affects whether someone's getting cucked.
Well, I think that consent is the whole basis for it because you're not consenting to raise the kid that isn't yours. You don't know it. So otherwise you would retract consent if you did know. That was the whole point. Like that was the whole point, right? So if a king had like a queen and she decided to like fuck the bard and she got pregnant by the bard, and then she had the kid, he unknowingly raised that kid, he would be cuckolded, right? So, but if he had known, he would retract consent.
But today we have cuckold to consent.
Yeah,
Cuckold.
yeah. So I think that that's the pornographic, like the pornographic idea of it, and the porn industry coined that term. And yeah, I would agree that that fits the etymology of the word because they're fetishizing that happening to them.
Mm. So I do think that people can get cucked with or without their consent. Like I'm getting cucked. I don't want to be cucked by paying taxes, but I'm getting cucked.
Yeah, but why? If it's done through coercion, I don't understand that. That's like saying, so like for instance, if a woman were to be, SA'd, for instance, you wouldn't hold that against her. Like she didn't. There was nothing she did, right? She was just like jogging down the street and that happened to her. You wouldn't say that that's a sex partner, right? You would say that that was like this horrible thing that happened without her consent, right?
Sure, but it was still a sexual activity.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree that there was sex involved in it. I'm just saying that I think that what makes that the SA is the consent, and I think that that would be the same thing with cuckoldry. That both types are based around consent, either consent to watch the woman do this, or no consent to raising the other child.
Yeah, so there's levels to the cuck mountain, and consent is not really. You can't say I didn't consent, I didn't get cucked. You can't say I consent, I didn't get cucked. Consent doesn't really determine whether or not you're getting cucked.
Well, I think if you were to instance, if you were to find out that or you had wanted your wife to screw another guy and get pregnant, that wouldn't fit the idea of cuckoldry, at least not the base word of cuckoldry, because the whole idea there is I did not consent to this and you made a cuckold out of me, right? I'm now raising a child that is not mine, and I assumed that it was. I think it's the consent issue that is the big issue.
Yeah, no, I'd still call him a cuck. I still think that fits the spirit of the word. Now, we got these old definitions. You got new definitions. You have, It was this. Here's some birds. I think most men would agree letting your wife get pregnant willingly from another dude
Hmm.
is some cuck shit.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Okay. So when I did my opening statement, you said there was a lot of similar arguments, attacks, haterade, whatever it was, and I don't know you. I don't know you. Where was I wrong? Because I don't want to be wrong if I say you married a single mother and that was true.
No, that's true. That's true. I did marry a single mother. I'm not sure how that relates to cuckoldry, unless if all you're saying here is that all of us are cucks to some degree, and I'm just in some kind of higher tier of cuck than you are, even though you're also a cuck. Right? Then I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's that it's an argument with merit, really.
Well, I'm trying to say that higher level cucks shouldn't be telling young men how to live their lives.
Well, I don't tell anybody how to live their life.
You don't preach.
Nope.
You don't. No.
I have no ministry of whatsoever.
Oh, well, that's an attack. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
What do you do mostly besides? Because I've only seen you attacking hookers online.
Oh, from whatever?
Yeah,
Like whatever clips? Yeah, so I go on whatever. That started a few months ago. I go on anytime they ask me to guest on there. And sometimes we have interesting conversations and sometimes debates break out. Occasionally they're theological in nature, but like my rule is not to ever give advice. Even though people DM me for it all the time, I literally tell them I don't give advice. It's a bad idea to give people advice because I don't know anybody's personal situation. And I feel like I could actually give somebody the wrong advice and it would lead them the wrong way. And then I would be to blame for that.
Yeah, that's a tricky situation. I mean, I'll give advice, but it's stuff like no hymen, no diamond, don't marry a single mother, go to the gym. Very basic stuff.
That's all good advice.
Yeah, but if someone will call in and be like, yo, Chronic, I got this girl. You've been dating for 5 years. I love her. But she has a body count of 3. Should I, no hymen, no diamond, yeet out of there? It's like, look, bro, it's your life, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm saying this.
Yeah, so I mean, but doesn't that kind of get to a lot of the core of the issue too, which is every single situation is going to be different. And while I agree with you, that probably a woman who is chaste and who is a virgin would probably be optimal for most men. There's less baggage, there's less all kinds of things. But, you know, these guys who are in their 30s or in their 40s, they all have different situations, and not every woman who's a single mom is a bad person, though I will admit that the rate of women who become single moms on purpose has now caused significant problems in regards to feminism. But like every situation is going to be different. So it's very difficult even for you to kind of broad brush it any more than me. That's why you probably take it on a situation by situation basis.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a single mother, I would always say no. But
what if she was a widow?
No, because there's a woman up there without kids.
Yeah, that's true. But like, what if the guy, like modern women, what I learned from whatever going on there so much is that modern women fucking suck. And it doesn't necessarily matter. Well, it doesn't really even seem to matter. They have kids, they don't have kids, this and that. Like, they're all kind of entitled, obnoxious brats, for the most part. Very, very ungrateful brats. And, the thing is like, I'm not so sure that even if the woman has no kids, she probably had 4 abortions, right? It's like, so it's hard to give anybody advice. The dating market's completely fucked. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Like, if I was one of these pickup artists, I'd probably just give up, dude.
Oh, yeah. So a funny thing, you DM me, you said something like, the date got canceled, and he said debate.
Yeah.
I thought of the pickup artists I beefed with in the past. These dudes would legit sell a spot for a StreamYard date. And some supporter would get on the StreamYard and they have a date with some probably OnlyFans girl for like 30 minutes. And then the next 2 hours would be 4 pickup artists like ripping the guy apart on how we did cold frame. And so when he said that, because I know you didn't do it, but that was some funny shit in my mind.
Yeah, well, I've seen, I've actually debated with a lot of pickup artists, debated with Destiny, Matt Dillahunty, a lot of the bigger debate names. I only actually go on whatever occasionally, but I mostly do debates with high-level personalities. Those are obviously a lot more fun to do. Like, for instance, the way I found out about you was when you were kind of just going at Hunter Avallone, which I thought was fucking hilarious, right? I was the one who broke that story. I broke that story on the Hunter Avallone thing. I was the one
getting cucked.
that his wife was doing this with all these dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was gross. Yeah, Kingston emailed me, but I was like, I'm not sure if this is legit and or legal. So I let it sit in my email box. Then he made the video the next day.
Yeah. Yep. That was fucking wild. But yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
I was like, did you see Hunter Avalone on Twitter begging for donations to get shared custody?
Yeah, I did. I tweeted about it. It's like, because it was really funny. He had this tweet. They went out with he had done a debate with Fuentes, and he was like, "I'm over here living the trad life, right?" And so I put that tweet up. I put that tweet up side by side with his "I need money. I need money for custody."
So bad. Well, like, part of me wants to feel bad for him, but just how he's acted over the years, I like to see it. I like to see leftist cuckolds. Well, he got cucked, but he's not a willing cuck. I like to see leftists get destroyed by the family court in public.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, is maybe I have different motivations for that. I'd prefer to see them come over to our side. So the leftists, they're not stupid, right? They're just misguided. And I think when shit like that happens and they suddenly have to engage in the real world and real world consequences, they begin to move away from that and more into the right wing sphere.
Okay. Could I interrupt, gentlemen? I feel like you guys should be cracking a beer open and just barbecuing or something. This has turned into like a nice conversation. You found a lot of agreement points.
Well, a lot of people, when they get invited to a debate or discussion, they'll watch some of my content, because my content, like when I'm streaming or I'm making response videos, very caustic, very toxic. But when I want to when someone's willing to have a conversation with me, I'm not going to just call them a goddamn cuckold and laugh at it. I still think marrying a single mother makes someone more of a cuckold than not. But it's like, what are we going to do? Am I going to repeat my arguments 5 times? He's going to do it, and then I'm going to get angry and call him a cuck boy. Then that's not really productive in my mind.
Yeah, I would still say, though, the problem, if you have a word which alludes to this idea of cuckoldry, and it just means basically anybody doing anything to you that you just don't want them to do to you, then that just basically makes everybody on planet Earth a cuckold.
Yeah, well, I like to use cucketry. Would I call you a cuckold? No. When I say you marrying a single mother is engaging in cucketry, yes, I would.
But if I was getting taxed, that would be cucketry.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a different level of cucketry, right? We're all getting cut by the government.
Yeah, but I mean, how do we ascertain what the levels here are? Is she just kind of using intuition for this? Like, yeah, I feel like this is more cuckoldry. This is why when I use etymology, I'm trying to look at the root of the word, and I'm trying to discern what category it goes in. So every word's going to point to a meaning and a category. So if we use the word, we're pointing to the meaning in a category, it seems like it's very much sexual and is very much related to offspring. But if we just kind of take that etymology away and say just anything anybody ever does against your will is cucketry, then I think that we've just lost what the word meaning is.
Yeah, I think calling someone a cuck or saying they are engaging in cucketry is not the same as saying they're a cuckold. Cuckold I like to reserve for, the Murphys.
Okay, so let me make sure I got it right then. So cuckold, we would agree, is going to be like Jack Murphy. He's a cuckold. And we would agree like a king who raised a prince that the bard had actually sired and there was no paternity test. That would be a cuckold too. So we have those two things would be cuckolds.
Yes, but it's when it comes to what's worse, it's like cucketry is like temperature. Everything has a temperature. Okay, it's a scale. Just because I say, this table has a temperature of 72 degrees, doesn't mean that ice doesn't also have a temperature.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's more of like I see cucketry.
Yeah, but it seems to me like it's just two categories. We're talking about two different categories. So when we say cuckold, we're both agreeing on what that category is. And then when we say cucketry, your definition of cucketry is basically anything which is done to you, the person, that you didn't want done to you. That would be.
I think I would say it's any transfer of resources from a man to another man's offspring. That's what I would say.
So okay. So really though, because if let's say you're a soldier in a foreign war and you give a kid a candy bar, that's cucketry then.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me think of a better, because there's a sexual nature of it, right?
Yeah, I think there has to be. I think there has to be.
Donating, like donating to like some food aid, or donating for, I don't know, like shoes to some homeless kid. That's obviously not cucketry.
Right. So like
But
and by like if you were to go back to old Roman Empire when they like
mm,
let kids die of exposure and you rolled out if you had a time machine and you went back and you like saved that kid from dying, you wouldn't call that cocketry, right?
no, but I would say if you married a woman with a bunch of kids and you raised those kids and you spent your life's energy raising those kids instead of having more of your own kids, that's cucketry.
What if you did both?
Both as in like raising someone, marrying and raising someone else's kids and donating
And you had your own.
and had your own.
Hmm.
Then you're less, I'd say you're less cucked than someone that didn't have any of their own. But compared to the version of you that had all your own children, you're more cucked than that version is.
Okay, so when we're talking about cucketry, then we can at least exclude some categories. So like just providing resources for kids that aren't yours isn't going to fall under that category because that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, a soldier giving a candy bar to a kid in a war zone is not going to be. We're not going to consider that cucketry at all.
Yeah, I would say if it's not at the expense of your own children or future children, yes, it's not cucketry.
Okay, so then the widow argument would stand. So then if a widow died and her children died, let's say before you met her, there would be no allocation of resources, so that could not be cocketry.
So what are you doing with this widow because she's dead? Just never.
No. She's the widow.
Okay, there's a widow.
Yeah.
Her kid had died.
Yeah, kids are died and her husband died. Yeah.
Oh, and the kids?
Yeah.
Well, then you're not transferring any resources to her kids because you're dead.
So that's not cocketry.
I'd say it's not overt cocketry. I think anything worse than anything that's not no hymen, no diamond on some level is a little bit cuckish. Yes, I think that is. But
So even sleeping, so
because you married a widow, I wouldn't.
yeah. So even sleeping with a woman who slept with a man before you, you're still a cock.
If you're giving her money and providing for her, it's worse than no hymen, no diamond.
So the only way, essentially, somebody would not be practicing cucketry is if they married a virgin.
Yeah, I'd say that. But you're still getting taxed. But willingly participating, willingly.
Yeah, no, but you're willingly like marrying a chick who has slept with like 7 guys in her lifetime.
That's some seasoning of cuck flakes on top. Yeah.
So that's cucketry.
Yeah.
And then Joseph, by that logic, though, Joseph, who is the stepfather of God, would be a cock.
Sure.
You are. I think you're a Christian, right?
Yeah, but I'm not attacking Joseph for being a cuckold. He sent raising the father of God, and I'm not comparing people who marry single mothers to a dude whose wife gave birth to a Messiah. Yeah,
but he didn't know that was the Messiah first. So she came from a convent, and was betrothed to him and was pregnant before she knew that was the Messiah.
Did an angel tell him it was going to be the?
Yeah, but he had already known she was pregnant by that time.
Yeah, sure, I'd say that.
So you think he's a cock?
He's higher on the mountain of cocketry than a man who didn't consent, or the man who didn't have to raise this immaculate conception.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think that we just have to category error. So I think we agree on the first category of what a cuckold is, and I think that the second category is this word you came up with of cucketry, which essentially just kind of alludes to anything in which a man is utilizing resources, as you described, towards other people's children. But there's then caveats to that where, okay, not in a war zone, though, or not if you like find them on the ground and there's no parents around, even though you'll be raising the kid then, not for adoption. So it's not really clear to me what the criteria for cucketry is. It's a fun word, right? Like, I'm going to use it now. I'm going to steal it from you and use it. Yeah, I'm stealing it and I'm using it because it's a fun word. But I'm not clear. I'm still not really clear everything that would go in that category is all.
Do you think any of your children are the Messiah?
No.
Probably not. Yeah, I would say no.
Yeah.
You willingly chose a woman with other man's kids.
Yep.
To marry and have kids with and give resources to raise those kids.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a much higher level of cucketry than a man who was told by an angel that his wife is pregnant with the Messiah.
Yeah, I get it, but it's still just going to fit under this criteria of coquetry. Whether there's different levels of it, like I would say, there's different levels of SA. You could say there's different levels of SA, like penetrative, non-penetrative, some which are likely far more horrible than others, this type of thing. But it's all going to fall under the same category. And I'm just not clear everything that would fall under this category of coquetry. So if you say, okay, stepfather is going to fall under that, okay, why? Well, because you're giving resources to someone else's kids. Like, okay, but I could give you many, many examples of people giving resources to other people's kids where that doesn't fall under coquetry, and you kind of agree with that.
If the resources that you give away do not inhibit the resources that can go to your own children.
Yeah, but that could be
in the war.
Yeah, but I mean that still could. I mean, like if you give to a children's charity, you know what I mean? That's going to take away resource from your own kids.
Yeah, if your kids can't afford, new shoes, and you're donating to give shoes to inner city kids, you are a cuckold. Yes,
that's cucketry too. Well, what if you can't afford it for them, and you have a little bit left over, but they're not going to get the nicest shoes, and then you're going to split those resources. And ordinarily they can have nicer shoes, but you split the resources and then give that to children's charity. Is that still cucketry?
Are we talking like what kind of shoes are we talking about? Are your kids like using water bottles?
No. They have like regular serviceable shoes, but they're not really high grade. And you could get them high grade. It's just that you choose to get them kind of normal shoes and then split it, or you choose to get them like maybe not the nicest toys around and then split it and then give the rest of it to like a children's charity.
I would say that that children's charity, the resources you give to them, there's definitely other parts in your child's life that could benefit from those resources besides shoes.
Okay, well then let me ask you this. I understand that you work in the medical field, and I'm guessing that you have tons and tons of patients who come in who you take care of who have forms of state assistant, Medicaid, Medicare, things like that, right?
Yep.
And then,
let's say I'm not directly involved with the patient care, but yeah.
Okay, so you're not like providing the surgeries and this kind of thing, but if you were, well, I don't know, I'm making an assumption, right? I don't know. You can, but anyway, so you're providing this care by the state paying you to do that. Doesn't that make any of those children you provide the care for cuckolded by you? Aren't you basically cucking them?
I'm cucking the kids by providing medical services to them. Is that what you said?
Yeah, because it's coming from the state, from other resources.
No, I think the people, which is everybody, paying taxes to fund Medicare and Medicaid are getting cucked because illegals will go into the hospital and get basically free health care. I'm just profiting off of the cucketry system.
So you're participating in the cucketry system.
Yeah, I mean, you pay taxes.
I mean, I tend to agree. I'm trying to figure out all of the kind of dimensions to what cucketry would entail. Mm-hmm. So if a person were to take their wife to the hospital, let's say,
yes,
or I'm sorry, let's make it even easier. Take their kid to the hospital, and then says, okay, can you provide care for this kid? And then he pays you to provide care for the kid. Is he that's not cucketry?
I'm getting paid for a service.
Yeah, no, but
if my job is to, let's say my job is to remove wasp stingers from kids, I'm getting paid to do that.
Now, another guy sitting in the ER and he looks over and says, oh man, that sucks. I'm going to pay that kid's bill. He's a cuck?
Yeah, you pay taxes. Yeah. If you pay taxes, you pay for the health care of millions of illegals. Jump in the border with horrible health problems. We're getting cut by taxes.
No. I'm saying if a guy's in the hospital, you treat the kid, right? His kid, yes. And he's like, oh man, this copay is killer, or whatever. This bill is killer, and somebody in the hospital looks over and says, hey, you know what, man? It's around Christmas time. I'm going to pay for that bill. He's a cock.
Does he have kids?
Yeah.
Or the kid,
yeah, he has kids. Yeah.
And the kids have medical bills that need to be paid?
Well, I mean, maybe not, but any form of resources which he would provide necessarily is going to be resources that his kids aren't going to have, right?
Yeah, I think it is more cuck than not doing it on the level of Cuck Mountain, cucketry, right? But I don't necessarily think that charity towards someone's kid willingly, unless it hurts your, like, what are the it goes on a deeper level. Like, what is his kids eating? Are his kids eating modern American food?
They have a healthy diet and this and that, but kind of regardless of what their personal circumstances would be, whether they were well taken care of or not well taken care of, necessarily, if this guy takes care of this other kid's bill, that is going to be taking resources away from his kids. That's like an entailment of that.
Think of it. Yeah, that is cockatry. How is this kid's going to buy a house when it's $1 million for a house? He could have taken those resources and put it away.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really think we have much to, I don't even think that we have much in the way to disagree with here. If the second criteria for this, of cucketry is so broad that it would entail even acts of charity, and we're all just kind of cucks, then I guess I just don't give a shit.
I think on the other end of Cuck Mountain is being selfish, right? Because obviously most people will be like, hey, paying for some kid's cancer treatment doesn't make you a cuck. I'd say, well, putting that money away for your kid's house would probably be more useful to the kids. And someone's like, dude, you're a selfish asshole. I'm like, yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay, well then I guess all of us engage in cucketry, and to some degree, and many of them do it on purpose for the purpose of charitability, and then we don't really disagree on what a cuckold is. So I think the debate's been resolved.
Well, some people will marry a woman with children, and I find that a level of cucketry I would not accept.
Okay. I don't really know where to take it from there, Sarah.
I don't either. It was 40 minutes. It wasn't even 40 minutes. Undead Chronic, did you ever have any other points of contention?
I just wouldn't let my son marry a single mother. I'd probably strangle him before that.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I mean, gentlemen, I don't want to eat up any more of your time. If you're both satisfied with the response and all set, we can end on statements.
Well, I just say it's nice to meet you. This was kind of a breath of fresh air debate. I felt like you were very good faith and answered the questions that I had for you, and appreciate that. I think that we're kind of having a semantic argument, and I think semantics are important to arguments. And I think that you have just kind of made this category error of cuckoldry is X and then cucketry is Y, and everybody falls in some way to this category Y, but we agree on category X. So I mean, I don't really, if that's all it means, then I guess I just don't have an issue with it.
I think climbing the mountain to go closer to being a cuckold is a bad thing to do. And I think you got your Patagonia on and you're hiking. And I'm at the bottom of the mountain, my bro, stop. But I mean, at this point, it's like, dude, divorce your wife. Like that's not gonna, like there's no fix to this. It's more young men don't marry single mothers.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's bad advice.
Yep.
That's advice I would generally agree with. In fact, the people I see more giving that advice out nowadays than anybody else are single mothers who've been through the ringer in the system and go, wait, I really fucked up here. So that's at least that's the turn that I'm starting to see. But feminism's entrenched, so who knows how it'll go. But anyway, that's all I have for my closing statement. I appreciate it.
Closing for you, Undead Chronic.
Man, fuck you for making me agree with you sometimes. I wanted to yell.
Was that it for you, Chronic?
Yeah. I don't really have anything else. It's just lifestyle differences. I think that marrying single mother, and we just talked about it. So that's pretty much it.
That's fair. Well,
all right, guys. I got to get prepared for another podcast tonight. Sarah, thank you again for having me on your stream. I appreciate you doing the legwork for this. It was very kind of you. You guys have a wonderful night.
Thanks, Andrew. And Undead, if you want.
The fuck was that? This was your champion? That was your champion? Come on, dude. He seemed all right. Right. But I guess if they don't have personal attacks, what do they got?
No,
and our family.
Yeah, men want women who are passionate and ambitious, even if that means, being a wife and a homemaker and raising your children.
I don't give a shit about ambition. Fuck.
So you don't want to be with somebody who has
that
goals?
didn't care about ambition. They don't care about women's ambitions.
So you want to be with somebody who doesn't have any goals in life? Because
I didn't say goals. I said ambition. You don't need to be ambitious. Like you.
Ambition. I don't think you understand what ambition means.
Oh, why don't you tell me?
Go ahead, tell them. What?
I'm not good at definitions on the fly at all. So
I thought I didn't know what it meant. What the fuck?
I mean, I don't think you do, but just.
Oh, I guess. Well, I know you don't. 'Cause I know for sure you don't. You can't even tell me what it means.
Being able to describe something and write, what it means in a dictionary is not the same thing.
No,
as
but
knowing
you said you asked him. He doesn't know what you mean by ambition, so he's asking you to define it.
Yeah,
ambition is having goals.
I can Google it if you want. I can Google it.
That would be great. But ambition is having goals and seeking to, rise above where you're at, building skills, having a goal and trying to reach it.
Andrew, when you say men don't care about ambition, do you mean it within the context of like career achievement, academic achievement?
Yeah, well, what I'm talking about is...
Because what if a woman's ambitious for a family? Like, you would agree that would be... She wants... Well, not even that.
Again, we need to kind of narrow down what we mean here when we're talking about ambition. So for me, when I'm thinking about ambition, I'm thinking of, I want to have stellar achievement. I want to have something which I'm moving towards, which is to rise above some station or to move towards this kind of overtly worthy thing. Generally speaking, no, men don't give a shit. Like, if you start out a good cook and you end up a good cook, they don't fucking care. They don't care. They don't give a shit. You don't need to become a better and better cook. They don't give a shit. They don't care. Like, if you're just good enough, you're good enough. They don't give a shit. I've never seen any of them say, nope, you got to be, you got to really.
Hold on. I want to give her an opportunity to respond. You seem to disagree with Andrew. Do you want to?
I think generally speaking, people seek a partner who does have goals, and goals are what give your life meaning.
Can I comment on this? Let me comment.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be job related at all.
So I think something that
I have goals. I want to be a homesteader. I want to raise a family. Like, I want to become a better cook. You brought up cooking.
I think
but why does a man care about those goals though?
Because
you want to be a homesteader.
Because he would like to do so as well.
Okay, so then.
So it's his goals.
It's his goals.
But
you have.
But I think the context of the conversation is occupational, career, educational achievement. That's the context. Not. And Andrew maybe has differing views on this. I don't object to a woman who is desirous or has goals to having a family.
But I don't think that's what it's. What I'm just saying about what is cared about. What are the preferences?
But let's keep it within the context of career, success, financial, educational achievement. And men in those realms, men don't really care about women's ambition in that regard.
No, I think I agree, Matt.
Oh.
It was just unclear when you said, men don't care if women have ambitions. I just...
Okay. Here, let's not linger long because I want to try to wrap.
But quickly, but for the men, so say, for example, right, you meet this girl and she's in school for something long term, but like you guys both mutually decide like y'all want to settle down and start a family. Do you think that she should forfeit her career for a potential husband and family?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about you?
What about me?
What do you do?
Should
the woman forfeit her career for a potential family and husband?
Should she? Well, it depends what the arrangement is going to be. Do you want to have 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kids, 4?
No, so
if her standard is going to be, well, while I'm pregnant, I don't want to be in the workforce, and then during those early years, I don't want to be in the workforce, and then I also want to have 3, 4, 5 kids, you are going to forfeit your career.
So remember the exact...
And if I can give my own perspective, let's say I want to have 7 sons. and I'm a high earner, and you want to go pursue your career where at the top end of your career, you're going to be making $75,000 a year, and I'm making seven figures a year. No. Think you should take care of the kids.
So
Why do that career if I can provide?
I agree. So in the example that we were saying, like, remember the 25-year-old having kids and then the 40-year-old man, right? So say the 25-year-old is just starting her career and all of a sudden the 40-year-old wants kids. Should she just like stop? Because she's obviously very early in her career. Should she just stop what she's doing?
Yes.
But you can have a career and have children at the
You can also not have a career and take care of your children at the same time. You can do both. None of these are mutually exclusive. So her should, ought. What should? What's optimal? What's optimal is you listen to your 40-year-old husband. If he tells you stay the fuck home and watch the kids, then you stay the fuck home and you watch the kids. It's simple.
If I could play devil's advocate for one.
You're such a misogynist.
This is what you're...
You are just a misogynist, and the Whatever Podcast, being a feminist platform, does not appreciate your attitude.
She asked. She just like, the ask is, what thing should be done if the husband wants this thing? Yes, from my worldview, yeah, you need to do what ultimately your husband tells you to do.
I am sorry. I do want to try to wrap up relatively soon, so I'm just going to try to get through some of our last talking points here.
No,
And our family.
Men want women who are passionate and ambitious, even if that means, being a wife and a homemaker and raising your children.
I don't give a shit about ambition. Fucking.
So you don't want to be with someone who has
They don't
goals?
care about ambition. They don't care about women's ambition.
So you want to be with somebody who doesn't have any goals in life? Because
I didn't say goals. I said ambition. You don't need to be ambitious. Like you.
ambition. I don't think you understand what ambition means.
Why don't you tell me?
Go ahead, tell them. What?
I'm not good at definitions on the fly at all. So
I thought I didn't know what it meant. What the fuck?
I mean, I don't think you do, but just
I guess. Well, I know you don't, because I know for sure you don't. You can't even tell me what it means.
being able to describe something and write, what it means in a dictionary is not the same thing.
No,
as
but
knowing
you asked him, he doesn't know what you mean by ambition. So he's asking you to define it.
Yeah,
ambition is having goals.
I can Google it if you want. I can Google it.
That would be great. But ambition is having goals and seeking to, rise above where you're at, building skills, having a goal and trying to reach it.
Andrew, when you say men don't care about ambition, do you mean it within the context of like career achievement, academic achievement?
Yeah, well, what I'm talking about is...
Because what if a woman's ambitious for a family? Like, you would agree that would be... She wants...
Well,
not even that.
Again, we need to kind of narrow down what we mean here when we're talking about ambition. So for me, when I'm thinking about ambition, I'm thinking of, I want to have stellar achievement. I want to have something which I'm moving towards, which is to rise above some station or to move towards this kind of overtly worthy thing. Generally speaking, no, men don't give a shit. Like, if you start out a good cook and you end up a good cook, they don't fucking care. They don't care. They don't give a shit. You don't need to become a better and better cook. They don't give a shit. They don't care. Like, if you're just good enough, you're good enough. They don't give a shit. I've never seen any of them say, nope, you got to be, you got to really.
Hold on. I want to give her an opportunity to respond. You seem to disagree with Andrew. Do you want to?
I think generally speaking, people seek a partner who does have goals, and goals are what give your life meaning.
But when I come in on this, let me come in.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be job related at all.
So I think something that
I have goals. I want to be a homesteader. I want to raise a family. Like, I want to become a better cook. You brought up cooking.
I think we are.
Why does a man care about those goals, though?
Because
that you want to be a homesteader.
Because he would like to do so as well.
Okay, so then.
So it's his goals.
It's his goals.
Well, you have.
I
you have similar
context
goals, build something.
The context of the conversation is occupational, career, educational achievement. That's the context. Not. And Andrew maybe has differing views on this. I don't object to a woman who is desirous or has goals to having a family.
It's not an
but I don't think that's
objection. It's what I'm just saying about what is cared about, what
Sure.
the preference is.
But let's keep it within the context of career, success, financial, educational achievement.
And-
Men in those realms, men don't really care about woman's ambition in that regard.
No, I think I agree, Matt.
Oh,
It was just unclear when you said, men don't care if women have ambitions. I just
okay.
think
Here, let's not linger long because I want to try to wrap.
But quickly, but for the men, so say for example, right, you meet this girl and she's in school for something long term, but like you guys both mutually decide like y'all want to settle down and start a family. Do you think that she should forfeit her career for a potential husband and family?
Yeah.
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 What about you?
What about me? The
Like, do
should
the woman forfeit her career for a potential family and husband?
should she? Well, it depends what the arrangement is going to be. Do you want to have 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kids, 4?
No, so-
If her standard is going to be, well, while I'm pregnant, I don't want to be in the workforce, and then during those early years, I don't want to be in the workforce, and then I also want to have 3, 4, 5 kids, you are going to forfeit your career.
So remember the exact.
And if I can give my own perspective, let's say I want to have 7 sons, and I'm a high earner, and you want to go pursue your career where at the top end of your career, you're going to be making $75,000 a year, and I'm making seven figures a year. No, I think you should take care of the kids.
So
Why do that career if I can provide?
I agree. So in the example that we were saying, like, remember the 25-year-old having kids and then the 40-year-old man, right? So say the 25-year-old is just starting her career and all of a sudden the 40-year-old wants kids. Should she just like stop? Because she's obviously very early in her career. Should she just stop what she's doing?
Yes.
But you can have a career and have children at the
You can also not have a career and take care of your children at the same time. You can do both. None of these are mutually exclusive. So her should, hot. What should? What's optimal? What's optimal is you listen to your 40-year-old husband. If he tells you stay the fuck home and watch the kids, then you stay the fuck home and you watch the kids. It's simple.
If I could play devil's advocate for one.
You're such a misogynist, Andrew. You are just a misogynist, and the Whatever podcast, being a feminist platform, does not appreciate your.
Well, then she asked. She just like, the ask is, what things should be done if the husband wants this thing? Yes, from my worldview, yeah, you need to do what ultimately your husband tells you to do.
I am sorry. I do want to try to wrap up relatively soon, so I'm just going to try to get through some of our last talking points here.
So here's why I'm asking. Let me just like cut right to the chase.
Yeah.
I don't believe when most women say that they want to be submissive, that they're telling the truth. I think that because I don't believe that what they consider submission to be, I think that they consider it another form of partnership or equality. So I'll submit as long as you meet X, Y, Z condition. So like, for instance,
Right. Well,
hang on. You said material conditions are important.
for me, yeah.
So you get married. You get married to a guy who makes $500,000 a year. He gives you a wonderful life. He gets sick.
Okay.
Like my dad did. He gets multiple sclerosis. Okay. And now he's messed up. Is he still the head of the family, even if you're the breadwinner?
I mean, he's my partner. I married him. It wasn't his fault that he got sick.
It's true. But is he the head of the family, even if you're the breadwinner?
In my eyes, he is. Like, I'd be like, kids, respect your father.
No. He says, I make all the decisions, and you're going to follow those decisions.
Well, I think decisions in the household, it's a 2-parent household. Like, what decisions are being made? I think if you...
Well, that's not submission.
If you respect your partner, look, submissive is not a slave. Let's be clear.
What is it?
Submissive is like, to me, if your man, like, look, if we have gender roles, if we are both doing our part, like in a way, a man submits to a woman,
No, a man doesn't submit to a woman. How does a man submit to a woman?
because your woman will have certain wishes that she wants you to grant or things she wants you to do. Let's say like throw out the trash or be home by dinner at this time or, help me with this, help me with that. Or
Sounds like equality.
or provide. That's not equality because like
Well, if you're saying, say, he has to submit under XYZ role.
I'm not
You have to submit under XYZ role. It sounds like
I'm not.
it's a partnership.
Look, yes, we are partners.
Oh, that's not equal.
Partners are
That's
not
equal. They're not? You have a lesser equality to your husband?
No, I deserve respect.
Well, that confuses me.
Okay.
Are you equal or are you not equal to your husband?
We're not equal because you're a man, I'm a woman. We deserve equal respect, but we both have
So
different
equal
roles.
dignity as human beings, sure.
We have different roles in this relationship dynamic. You're a father, you're a husband, I'm a wife.
So what's his role if he's sick, right? And he can't work and you have to provide. He says this. Hang on. He says this. When you come home, you're going to give me all the money. And I'm going to put the money in where I see fit, right? That's where it's going to go.
Well,
And hang on. Let me finish. And you disagree with what he's doing with that money, and you're making it.
Why would I disagree? I would trust. I mean, like,
Because you do. You think he's spending it unwisely.
so in this scenario, I disagree with him. I would express that, look, I don't think it's a smart decision. And if you want to that's the thing. Like, it's not an argument. It's like, this is what's the problem. Like, let's solve it. So it's not about me being right or
And he
you
says,
being
okay,
right.
let's solve it. We're going to do this, and that's it.
Well, that wouldn't be my partner.
Oh, right.
My partner's not stuck.
Because
My partner's not stuck on having his way.
Me first,
Right.
Andrew.
Right. So when you boil it down,
Deserve respect.
When
How
you-
would you like it if I came home and I'm like, no, we're only doing this, and what I say?
well, if I was the one advocating that I was submissive, that would be my expectation, is that I can and submit.
In a relationship, we both submit at certain different times of the day.
Equality.
Like, it's not equality.
Oh, really? It sounds like equality. It sounds like with like flowery.
What's equality to you?
So for me, it would be a kind of utilitarian aspect of egalitarianism, which would mean that you think that you are equal to your husband.
I'm not, though. So
Then why is it
the-
that if he says this is the way it is, you say,
I wouldn't
that
argue
would
with
not
him.
be my partner who said that to me. If I thought he was using that money irresponsibly, I thought so.
So what would you do if your wife was misusing your money? Like, you're
I would take the money away from her.
You're not. So I'm not going to take anything away from my husband. Like,
Well, then if he says that's the way it is, you should say what?
well, then that's the way it is. But
Well,
like,
then how come earlier you said that
we-
would not be my partner
because
then?
my partner would allow me to like express myself and have my
Why
views.
should he allow you to express yourself if he's already made the decision? If he says no,
Because some decisions require two people.
which ones?
And some decisions you want your partner's input.
Which decision requires two people?
It doesn't. I don't have. Have you ever been married or in a relationship?
Let's assume I haven't.
Okay. Well,
You can tell?
whether you have or you
I
haven't.
thought you might.
I have a question. Whether you have or you haven't, have you owned a business with someone else?
Let's assume I haven't.
Have you played a sport with someone
Let's
else?
assume I haven't. Can you get the argument?
My argument is that in all these things, you need to consult with the people you're working with, or
Consult. Now, if you're a coach in a team, when you go to consult with your players, can you do things like, say, run a bunch of fucking laps? And if you don't, you're off the team.
I don't know. I'm not a coach.
Then why'd you bring it up as an example?
Because when you're
Why did you ask me? What the fuck? You just asked me. You're like, have you ever been in a team? And I give you a team analogy, and you're like, I have no idea.
right, you're talking about I'm talking about team setting, as in team player with team player. You're talking about the coach. I think I'm not a coach. I don't know, but in a team setting, like a relationship is, because it is a partnership. You get married as a partnership.
And your submission comes in as what?
As respect for my husband.
Yeah, but what does that mean? I just gave you a scenario
Right.
in which your husband says, from your perspective, he's not respecting you. From your perspective,
No.
he's saying, hang on, it's baked into the hypothetical. Just listen. Don't move it. Hang on. Don't move ahead because it's designed to test your logic.
Why is hypothetical always negative?
Hypotheticals aren't always negative. It's just designed to test your logic so we can see where you end up. Okay?
Cool.
This guy's making decisions you don't agree with, and he's taking your money, which you're earning, and he's sick. And you say, I don't agree with the decisions, and he says, listen, that's too bad. I have the last word on this. What happens?
Look, I don't know because I've never been in that situation. I just trust that the man I end up with, I have good judgment of character. And, when people are sick, they're not themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think I understand you say you don't know.
I don't
right?
know,
But
yeah.
from my perspective, submission, people who actually say, I submit to my husband in that situation, they submit.
It's not, again, so much about being right or wrong.
That's right.
I think it's more about like, this is the problem. Let's solve it. So that is,
Yeah, but what if he says it's not a problem? I've already solved it. Now go away.
I trust him.
Now go to your room. Now go to your room.
Look, if my husband wouldn't speak to me that way, nice. Because there's respect. Because when you respect
That's
your
not-
partner,
If you're questioning him, you're not respecting you.
I'm not questioning him.
Well, then why did he send you to your room?
You're saying
No, she's mad about. She's about Chris saying go leave, bitch. He didn't. And just to clarify, Chris said leave bitch. That's not what he said.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, he didn't say that. So disregard Chris.
No. I
in
didn't.
your story, I'm disagreeing with my husband. I would I'm not really like a disagreeable person because I trust the man I'm with.
What are you doing right now?
No,
Right now, man.
no, he wants to debate and argue. I'm not, so I'm standing my ground on my point of view, and
Well, I'll just end it like this then. Maybe we can find some common ground.
maybe because
So in the situation then, if your husband, from your perspective, gets sick,
yes,
right? And it's terrible, but all of his faculties are intact, right? And he says, now you're going to go work. When you get home, I'm going to take the money. I'm going to apply it to the household how I see fit, even if you don't like it.
I trust him.
And you agree that women should do so.
I trust him, so I.
Yeah, no, but you agree women should do so if they're married.
I mean, it's your kingdom. Yeah, you cooperate. Like, you know what I mean? It's more than just about you. It's about your family and you guys. Everybody has different values. So, like, for me, like, I trust him. If he's intact, yeah, he's sick. Like, okay, now it's my turn.
And you think most women should?
I think if you value that relationship and you want it to last a long time and last, then yeah,
Then,
do your end. Do your end.
well, then we find some agreement. So women should submit to their husbands. No,
Yeah.
I was just kidding.
Wait, what?
You two are fucking horrific, and these allegations are insane. We picked them apart in 15 seconds, and these other women have been waiting patiently for us to get to them, and both of you need to get up where you're at and get the fuck out of here.
What the?
You make me sick.
Wait,
Both of
hey,
you, they should be sick. I don't want to hear shit, Brian. I want it out. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here with your bullshit false allegations. You both fucking suck. Your stories are bullshit. And by the way,
I got you. Calm down.
what happened here?
Now you're taking your mask off.
Guy humped you and he dumped you and you want
Mask off now. You finally showing your true color because you're a fucking idiot. Thanks for showing us who you are. You're not getting out. We're not leaving. We are not leaving. We're the guests here. We are not leaving.
Oh, you demand to stay? Well, then stay in silence while we get to the rest of the girl.
We're not staying silent because we're the guests here. That's the main reason why we're here. Why should we
And
be
now
silent?
you're unguested. I'm pulling rank.
Who are you?
Fuck out.
Who the hell are you to tell me that?
Guy on this end of the screen. Get up.
You had no right and power. No, because you're afraid to play this video.
We're not.
You want to. So shut up, fuck.
Yeah, you're here on a visa from the Chinese government.
You are not a father.
American
You're
citizen.
not even father.
You need to get the
Are you
fuck
a
out of
father?
the studio.
No,
I know you need to do.
I'm not going to.
Just let him yell.
See? This is the type of guy that's teaching you guys for being an irresponsible man.
Can I see this video?
He's showing us that's who he is right now. Exactly the same as Walter Weeks.
You mean
awesome in every way. I'm sorry that you went down.
That's worse.
And you couldn't entrap him in your little fucking CCP scam. I'm terribly sorry that happened. That you went down on a student visa. Fuck this guy. He nutted in you a ton of times. By your own admission, you let him, and then you tried to entrap him. You released the recording, and it didn't go over.
And then I should have killed
thought it
the
would
kid.
go over, did it?
Then I
That
better
worked
kill
out
the
for you.
kid.
It didn't work
Why
out
did
so
I
well.
kill the
You
kid?
tried to entrap this guy, did it, lady?
Why did I keep the
Because
kid?
people
I should have keep the
fucking
kid.
believe you, broad. We don't believe
You don't have to believe me. Just will. You don't have to, because you can body
human dog shit.
shit up. You are disgusting. I didn't like you for the first time I saw you. Because you hate women. You hate women. You understand?
Hey, guys.
You have no respect for women. That's why you're here out right now.
You respect women.
I brought up the
You
video.
respect women.
You murdered your child.
He does that.
Andrew.
Mother's Day. How do you like that? You murdered your kid. Happy Mother's Day, murderer. And the woman next to you, she agrees with me. How does that make you feel? How does that make the entire CCP feel that you're down here getting impregnated and murdering your offspring? How does that make you feel, ladies? Does that make you feel good?
Chill, calm down.
Whoa.
What the hell is going on?
Wait, hold on. This whole CCP angle here is totally new to me. Are you involved with the Communist Party of China?
I'm not going to talk about anything.
Well, hold on. If you omit here,
Yeah, can you badmouth?
I'm not gonna talk about-
Can you badmouth the CCP for us, just so that we know you're not a communist spy? Can you badmouth the CCP? Can you say that the CCP is bad?
Why do you bring up politics?
I'm asking
We're not
you.
here
Can
to
you
talk about-
badmouth? Can you badmouth the CCP right now, live on this show, or are you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
wait, is this?
You
I
know,
don't talk about politics. No, I don't know. So we're not here to talk about
as party of your own country is? Can you criticize a single politician from your country right now?
Wait, where are you going?
Why do you even talk about my country? What's that?
Because I know exactly what your country does with these entrapment.
Go to my country and talk about this.
They do.
This is the only way you can talk about. This is the only thing you can brought up. Now you're gonna
Wait,
criticize my country.
Guys, I'm not.
So now you're gonna criticize my country.
Let me just ask.
Because you have
Andrew a
nothing
question.
else to say. You know you're wrong. Because you are loser and you're wrong.
Andrew, let me ask you a
Play
question.
the video.
Andrew, let me ask you a question.
Play the video.
Are you? I don't want to promote any misinformation on my platform. Are you alleging that this whole thing, this is breaking news, that this whole thing was like some CCP attack on Walter?
I don't know. She's here on a work visa. You know, she
So wait, you said I'm here on a student visa.
It's this guy.
No, they not on work
He's
visa.
releasing audio. It sure sounds like some CCP style
Is so a politician? Is Walter
Is this a VHS hit?
Is Walter a politician?
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
Yes.
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 No,
His show
he's
is
not.
highly political and highly politically engaged. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if you were part of some CCP spy network, like many have been, the upper echelons of government. It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
I didn't know that he was going to come in with the CCP angle. I swear I'm serious. Like, this is, I don't know where he's even getting this shit from.
Because he tried to get me leave. I'm not leaving. Guess what?
Well, then stay while we get to the other fine gals who have been waiting patiently for us.
Let's wait for the video.
Hold on. I'm going to return on, if anybody wants, I'm going to return on the TTS. Oh my God, has everything, I'm sorry, guys.
It's been off this whole time.
Shit, it hasn't been popping up. For those of you, I'm very sorry. It's just going to come through. I'm sorry, guys.
Jeremy waited $199.
I don't know what happened here.
First, you decided unilaterally to kill her child. Take away boys, don't nut inside of stupid, like these chicks. The more they talk, dumber they are. Andrew, want to hear from you, my spirit animal.
Okay, thank you guys. I think we're all caught up there. Okay, so let's talk about what the red pill is and what I view as the problems with red pill. So I view the red pill as kind of an offshoot or something that developed from maybe earlier MGTOW or manosphere types. So a lot of the complaints center around inequality before the courts and family law specifically benefiting women. I don't disagree there, but You mentioned yourself that they can be degenerate. And when I look at someone like the Fresh and Fit guys, who do talk about, like, they encourage promiscuity among men, that's not something that I support.
Yeah, but again, this is a detailed problem with your worldview. So let me dive right into this as well. These are secularists, and these secularist men are trying to help secularist men. The Christians are supposed to be coming in with solutions to these issues, and what happens is, like you, they have actual contradictions inside of their worldview. So these guys don't want to listen to them. What you guys say is, oh, hey, just roll the dice, and hopefully you'll get lucky, and maybe you won't marry one of these horrible women. What is the actual Christian prescription? So then tell me, Lauren, what is the actual Christian prescription to hypergamy in society from women and mate selection? What is the actual solution that you have from a Christian ethic that you can give these guys that's better than what Fresh and Fit gives them?
I don't have a problem with hypergamy.
Yeah, that's not my question. My question is, if you believe in monogamy because you're a Christian, but women are not acting in a monogamous way inside society, which they're not, what is the prescription that you're going to give to men? There's not enough women to go around who are virtuous for the virtuous men. What prescription are you going to give to the secularists? Do you even have one? You don't have one, right?
No, I think the solution is to do things like change family court, like absolutely change the law surrounding divorce. I think a lot of men, even if they are secularists, would feel better going into a marriage if they didn't think that there was such a good chance that they absolutely lose everything in the divorce. And I also think that you say that there's not enough good women to go around. I think that's true. And in my video talking about the women and the right, I believe a lot of this stems from a lack of leadership from men in the church. I think there should be a lot of churches, they prioritize gynocentrism, female sensibilities over actual male leadership. And I think that's a problem. And I think if we were to let
this doesn't answer the question. What is the actual prescription that you can give to men right now who are facing down the barrel of marriage, right? Where you have a state contract in a secular way. These guys are speaking to secular men. You're the Christian who's trying to convert them. What's the actual prescription that you're going to give these guys when it comes to marriage? What is it, Lauren?
Well, I think you pointed out that any prescription when it comes to marriage, if you're talking to a secularist, should be to follow Christ, because anything less than that is not a marriage.
Oh, and they go, yeah, but I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to, have sex with a bunch of hot chicks and then never tie myself down with the state. That makes a lot more sense. Can you actually tell me why that's illogical from a secular progressive state? I can't actually think of how it's illogical for a man who's a secularist to say, I don't want to get married in the current sphere. The women are not virtuous. And instead, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to have tons and tons of sex. And that's it. Why is that actually problematic from that stance? Doesn't it seem like it's good advice for Fresh and Fit?
If your problem with women is that too many of them have slept around, etc., then I don't think you need to be a Christian to recognize that by continuing to sleep with these women, you are exacerbating the problem. Unless that would be
contrary to hypergamy. Hypergamy is actually stating the opposite within the red pill thought process. They're actually stating the opposite, that most men cannot sleep with X amount of women. Most of them cannot. Most women can sleep with whatever guy they want. Most guys cannot sleep with whatever woman they want. So it would actually be the opposite within their sphere. So they're telling men, actually, you're probably not going to be able to do this thing. However, here's self-improvement you can do, which would improve your chances of mate selection and things like this. From a secular standpoint, how in the world could they possibly be wrong? What are you offering? This is the question. What are you offering from the Christian church, from the Christian perspective, to combat these ideas, Lauren? What are you actually showing them?
Well, once more, you talk about the fact that, well, they're offering self-improvement so that men can improve their chances for mate selection. I will maintain, if you are a man who believes that promiscuity amongst women, sleeping with men who they are not married to, is a problem, you cannot engage in that same behavior while complaining about the problem. You are exacerbating the problem.
Yeah, but most of those men are not exacerbating the problem. This is not a male problem. This would be a woman problem when it comes to hypergamy. If most of the women are sleeping with a select few men, how's that a man's issue? That would be a woman's issue. And again, you still have not answered the question from the church, from the Christian perspective. What would you do to solve that?
Well, I think what we need to do to solve that is when it comes to things like, sex outside of wedlock, as a church, we have fault. Like the Christian church has failed in enforcing those moral standards. I mean, and it's true. How many, if you think about like church singles groups or even just general services, how many of them talk about something like sex within marriage specifically? It's not a popular concept. It's not something that I think a lot of church leaders, quote, think is a winning topic. But because of that, even amongst people within the church, like that's a problem.
No, okay. Well, here, I'll give you this solution because that's a non-solution. That's just literally prattle. You didn't say anything. Here's the actual solution.
Okay, I'll let you continue. But
go ahead.
What I've said there is that the church should absolutely be pushing to enforce those moral standards, preaching those moral standards.
Which church?
Christian churches, like the church is the body of Christ.
Yeah, but the problem is that within Protestantism, you have so many different denominations, so many of them which embrace feminism, LGBTQ, this type of thing. They have no unified message. Only the traditional churches, Orthodoxy and Catholicism, do. That's it. That's why the Muslims have become so popular where they're at when they're pushing traditional values. That's the reason why. So I can tell you how you can actually make a lifeline to these guys if you actually want to bring them over to your side. If you really want to understand how you can fix this problem, you fix the problem with a move to patriarchy. That's the thing red pillars will embrace, a move to patriarchal systems. That's what Christianity can offer to the secularists, which bring them over to our side, a move to patriarchy. Because absent patriarchy, what has happened...
Churches need to embrace that.
Yet they have no ecclesiastical authority. Because there's no ecclesiology, they can't do it. Protestant churches can't do it. They don't have the necessary ecclesiology in order to move into a patriarchal system. They don't have any reference for marriage. They don't have any laws or bylaws regarding marriage. They have no laws or bylaws regarding anything. Whereas the traditional churches do have that ecclesiastical authority. That's why the traditional Abrahamic religions do so well, and why Protestantism does not do so well. And so hang on, I'm almost done. When you're making the advocation for this, the reason that you have a pro-feminist stance without even knowing it is because if you want to solve the problem on the red pill side and the Christ pill side, the one unifier that you have is a patriarchy, patriarchal systems. They will agree with that and you can move them out of that. But just selling them, oh no, just be monogamous, that doesn't do anything for them because who are the women left? They get the leftovers to be monogamous with. That's what they get.
All right, well, I mean... When it comes to things like divorce within the Catholic Church, at least if we're going with nominal Catholics, it is still high, unfortunately.
Depends on the country. That's one. Yeah. And there's influencers which happen inside of Western nations, especially due to feminism. In Orthodoxy, the rates are very, very, very low. Also, Orthodoxy offers the ecclesiastical authority and the requisite to get married outside of the state. It's not a requirement because these are sacraments. These are messages which you can give to actual red pillars to move them over to Christ. What you can't tell them to do, though, is, hey, take the big risk and the big gamble because Jesus would really like it if you did. That's insane messaging.
That's not my position, by the way, to take the risk and the gamble, to just roll the dice. I absolutely don't think that's a good idea for men to do. And I think that there are definitely things that you can do that would reduce your likelihood of getting divorced. I don't think you should just roll the dice. Absolutely not.
Well, then what is your prescription other than a move to patriarchy?
I don't think a move to patriarchy is not part of that answer. Again, I said that even in regard to the church. But I also think that there are certain mate selections that you can do that do have a statistical likelihood at reducing your chances of divorce. Right? Socioeconomic status of married couples has an outcome. It affects your likeliness of divorce.
Yeah, but it also affects the outcome of you having children because you have them later in life because of family planning. And so what ends up happening is it's the poor and the downtrodden and those who reject materialism who are going to inherit the earth because they're the only ones who are breeding. It's actually bad advice to tell people to wait until later in life to get married because you're going to destroy the chance of them having more children.
I'm not telling people to wait later in life to get married, but I think there's sometimes the willingness to believe that there is one likelihood of divorce and that it's a roll of the dice no matter what the circumstances are, which is patently not true. And there's a big differential, even if you look at between different races, of the likelihood of divorce. The black divorce rate, I think,
That's
is
because
like
different races embrace different types of ecclesiastical authority inside of their churches. Namely, some of them have none. And that's why when the church effectively had some sort of body to it inside of black communities, you did not see these divorce rates nearly as high because they had a more traditional foundation for what it was that they were going for. That's all destroyed. But when you're talking about the entailment of what you just said, though, of, hey, your likelihood for divorce drastically is going to reduce if you have, these different socioeconomic statuses. An entailment of that is going to be that they wait till later to get married. That, in turn, is going to cause us to have less children, which exacerbates the birth rate crisis. These, again, not a great position.
Well, the thing is when people
wait, to bring it back, your position is essentially, broadly speaking, women are not really interested in dating up. Is that, like, can you restate your position?
It was more that I think that's just not true. Like, I don't think women
What's not true?
I don't think they date up. Because
in general,
I think newer generations. Can I ask?
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. The average age, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, for marriage is approximately 30.5 years old for women in general. Why do you think that is?
Wait, prioritize Discord.
I'm guessing you're going to say because they tried to date up and it didn't work out, right? That's your point?
Well, whether it is or it isn't, I'd like to hear why you think it is that women are getting married at 30 years old when clearly their fertility at that point is going to be drastically reduced in comparison to if they had gotten married when they were in their 20s. Why do you think they're waiting until they're in their 30s?
Well, trends are now showing that's because they're now trying to focus on careers.
Right. So they're trying to focus on resources, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they feel like it takes X amount of time for them to have some kind of resources and safety net and things like this that they can fall back on, and then they'll focus on getting married. Now, do you think that generally speaking, women are marrying men who make more money than them or less money than them?
Right now, probably more.
Probably more. So if you were to put all of this together, what would you say? What would be your synopsis for why this phenomenon is happening now and it's never happened before in history?
You're saying this has never happened before in history? That women dating up?
No. It's never happened before in history where women are waiting until they're in their 30s on average to get married.
It's because they're getting more rights now, and they're able to.
Well, they've had rights. They've had rights, for 70 years. And even then, the trend still showed women were getting married when they were younger. Men, on average, get married when they're younger, too. So the question becomes really here, why is it that women are waiting till they're in their 30s to get married? Well, do you want to know what the responses from these surveys are for why they say that they're waiting until they're in their 30s to get married? What do you think that they are, if you had to guess?
Because they're waiting for the right person.
Well, they also say they're waiting to find somebody who's equally yoked with them and has financial stability. And when they get married, they're getting married to men generally who have more resources than they have. So that's not always the case, right? But they tend to settle when they're in their 30s. And in their 20s, they're looking for these, I don't know what you would call them, the Omega Chad or whatever the fuck you want to call it. They seem to be looking for that. And this is just what the data shows over and over again. So I would actually like to hear why you think what the alternative to this is in your mind. What is the alternative explanation?
To dating up? What's the alternative?
No, to why women are waiting until so late in life.
Yeah, it's because, like we were talking about, there's more possibilities for women. Like, we can go look at, like, Asian fertility rates and things like that. The birth rates going down as they are able to work more and more because they want to have a full career.
Right. So there's more options for them until they get into their 30s. And then the options begin to narrow. And so what do? What do they do when those options begin to narrow in their 30s?
If they settle, don't you think that's dating below them? If they're
Settling can be, yeah, but even then, they tend to at least settle with somebody who makes on par the amount of money they make or more than they make. So again, you say that it's because the options, right? They have so many more options when they're younger. We totally agree. They have tons more options when they're younger. They're looking through all of those options, but when the options begin to narrow, that seems to be when they settle, right?
If I could jump in here too, why do you think women don't date up? You even just said that women settle for someone who makes equivalent or below.
My point about the settling was, in his mentality, not dating up is settling, right? So a lot of times if they
But
can't date up,
what about your mentality?
would not, if I'm dating someone who makes less than
If
me,
you're dating a broke guy, would you consider that settling?
no, not necessarily at all.
Okay, so do you think women in general, though, would...
Wait, tilt your mic down.
Do you think women in
There you go.
Do you think women in general, if they dated men who could not financially provide for them, would consider that settling, as opposed to the ideal of dating someone who financially could take care of them, which would be women dating upwards?
And that's why I think it's more of a generational debate. I think younger generations start thinking, no, it's not settling. But if we get into...
So you don't think modern women want to date men who can
The average age of marriage is increasing. It's not decreasing.
Nick, who's the
So it's like, I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out where it is that you're coming from here. Because I think I get the worldview. I think I understand. We start with the monolith. You dismiss the monolith. That's fair, right? We're talking in generalities here. But you yourself, aren't you on essentially the same path, right? You're going to wait until you're educated and you have, something to fall back on, possibly a good nest egg. You're out not in any rush. Is it inconceivable to you that you yourself will end up being one of these women who probably gets married later in life at 29, 30, 31?
No, I completely see myself getting married way later than...
Right. So you're following the exact same trend
a little bit
that most of them are. You're exploring the options. Now, if Mr. Right comes in before then and he's, a football player with millions of dollars and wants to marry you, that might change drastically your outlook, right?
More.
No, because it's not necessarily on him. It's on me. Am I prepared for that?
That's what I'm asking you. If Mr. Right came in tomorrow,
with millions of dollars,
he was Rico Suave and he had millions of dollars swept you off your feet, wouldn't you drastically reevaluate your situation?
Why would I depend on someone with millions of dollars? What if he leaves me?
What happens if he leaves you and he has millions of dollars and you're married to him? What happens?
Oh, there's definitely a prenup. Most people are somewhat smart about that, I would say.
A lot of these millionaires, surprisingly, don't get prenups. They don't get them. The women convince them not to get them, and they don't get them. So if a guy wasn't going to get a prenup with you, had millions of dollars, at Rico Suave, he sweeps you off your feet right this second, what the hell would you ever have to work again for or rely on anything for? Wouldn't you go for it, or would you still wait until your education was done?
I would 100% wait. I've dedicated so many years to my education. That would be such a loss.
Do you value different resources? Is that why you said no to, if you dated a broke guy that wouldn't be dating down?
Yeah, I mean, value them as a human more than their resources. If they're just a good person.
Sure, but in do you plan on having kids?
Yeah.
So in your grand scheme of your life, do you, I guess, put finances at the bottom, even though finances do go into a lot of having kids, getting a house, having a comfy lifestyle?
Well, I've always planned on working, so it's not really a concern to me if they're the stay-at-home dad. That's never okay, that's not a concern for me. I asked.
7 sextillion 777 sextillion 777 quintillion 777 quadrillion 777 trillion 777 billion 777 million 777,177 donated $100.
Oh wow, that
my sprinkler goes like this.
Oh, that was actually really good.
Come back like this.
Good. Here, wait. Let me. Thank you, sprinkler guy. Okay. Let me have a little back and forth with you here for a little bit. So, you mentioned one that you've been really focused on your education. Do you think that men will find you more attractive because of your educational achievement?
Maybe. Depends what man.
Okay. I mean, I was just going to make the point that generally speaking, I would say men are not like your career success or your ambition or your educational achievement. It's not going to make you more attractive.
I think smart men, it might.
No, not really. Suppose it depends on your definition of smart, but I don't think men, that's really a big part of the calculus when it comes to what men find attractive in a partner.
I have a question. So in that case, what would you say men do find attractive when looking for a partner when it comes to a woman's status as far as her
They don't care anything about status.
Like
status is irrelevant.
Like no work, still lives with her parents in her 20s.
That's preferable.
Yeah, that's preferable.
Yes, if she lives with her parents, it's probably more likely that she's not
adjusted,
going out on the weekends, doing the whole shit on the weekend.
I mean, in general, are men more willing to take care of somebody else other than women? I don't think that women would generally, I would say that you're more like an exception, right? Women are more like inclined to say, no, I don't want to take care of this person. I want to like take care of myself. But men in general are more willing to say, you know what, you don't have a job, let me take care of you.
They want to provide.
I want to be
And
about that than a woman.
when men start to make a lot of money, they think, oh, great, I can provide for my wife, I can provide for my family, I can provide for my kids. What I've seen a lot with women is when they start making a lot of money, they think, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
It's two very different perspectives.
I 100%.
Well, and let me follow up with this too.
Wait, Nick, have you boosted a little bit?
As of right now, have you yourself financially supported any men?
Like, I'm 25 years old.
Well, I mean, but you've dated men.
I mean,
And that's what
yes, he had to borrow money a lot. Yes.
You had to borrow money a lot?
He did.
To what?
He did. He'll do what? To fly you out?
No, just to live.
To live?
To live. Live.
And you're okay
Wait,
with that?
so hold on.
So, I think
Here, I've got a question for you. So, okay. There's a female attorney who's 30.
Okay.
Actually, let's do 35. 35-year-old female attorney, 35-year-old male attorney.
Okay.
Which one do you think is more willing to date an attractive 25-year-old who works at a Starbucks?
Oh, gosh.
The man or the woman?
You know the answer, Kurt?
I know the answer. Yes, a man. Yeah, I do think.
Why?
I don't want to say why. I feel like.
Hey, why?
I think I'm generalizing by saying these statements. I think that I'm completely
General
general.
statements. He's just asking more likely. That is a general statement. So who's more likely? You say it's more likely it's going to be the man. Why?
Think men more often think with their penises. I'm gonna be
How? I don't see how that's thinking with
to
a penis.
want to be with a young pretty woman.
No, it's.
I wouldn't want to be right about her. She's pretty.
We're having your position is that women actually don't date up.
Nickelodeon donated $100. What'd be the difference in your life between dating and not dating someone over the next 5 years? If it works, you're happy. If not, still lonely. I did the same thing, BC health issues, and regret it.
Oh.
Wow, Nickelodeon. What'd be the difference in your life between dating and not dating someone over the next 5 years? Is this for the whole panel or just for her?
If it works.
I don't really get the question.
I don't either.
Possibly like her not dating now versus her dating after she gets her degree. And
Yeah, Nickelodeon saying
Why
that
wait?
she regrets waiting. She regrets waiting
Waiting.
Okay.
over this 5-year course. That's all.
I mean, I had a boyfriend for some of it.
Well, no, it's not specifically. So Nickelodeon's saying, I've been in the situation where I waited and I wish I hadn't waited over the 5 years. And so she's asking you specifically, do you think that it's better to wait or not wait? And what do you think the repercussions in your life will be as an entailment of that? That's what the question is.
Didn't they also talk about their own mental health if you don't date and you're in like a mentally...
They said that they were, that there's health issues now. So, I mean, I would say that there's nothing wrong with you waiting, right? You have your own priority set right now. That opinion might change later on. And then there's always going to be...
Nick, can you pull up the chart? Continue. Go ahead.
There's always going to be like repercussions for taking those actions. Although you're not interested in dating right now and you're focusing on in your career where there's nothing wrong with it, you'll be able to have, you'll be able to financially support yourself and somebody else if you so choose to. But the range of men that might be available to you is going
to be significantly smaller with every year that goes by.